Before I start, why are you here? Don't all shout at once. What would you like to know about millennials? It's such a buzzword at the moment. But what is really important for you to find out about millennials? Yes, please.
The decision-making process.
The decision.
Decisions and what that's dependent on.
Okay, very good one. Thank you.
I want to know what they really care about, because I work in the NGO space and I want to encourage and convince the next generation of leaders to be part of getting back, but I feel like they're not connecting with them.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I just feel like I understand them better so that I can manage them better.
Right, yes. You need more time. Yes.
Their lifestyle and how they operate. Right?
Okay, I'm going to stop the questions because we only have 2 hours. So thank you for that. I'm going to try and focus and make sure that I answer all your questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the different generations. I'm going to talk about all the different generations. I'm going to show you what really is important to them. I'm going to talk about how do they see the world, how do they want to be managed, and I'm going to finish with managing millennials. And even just very briefly touch on when you interview millennials, what kind of questions should you be asking them? What would work for them? And I would like to start at the Gen Zs and just give you a little bit of insights because they're coming in as we speak. Right. So what is it about all the different generations? Thank you. What is it about the different generations? If we start looking at my chart here, the silent gen, this is just after the Second World War. So the youngest would be 73, the oldest 90. I don't see any silent generation here. Then the baby boomers, age 54 to 72. Then the Gen X, which I'm a proud member of, 38 to 53. And then millennials. Now millennials are interesting because in some countries they start from 1982. But for the purpose of my research, I'm going to focus on 1981. So the age 22 to 37. And then the last one, the one that's upcoming, that would be Gen Z, 6 to 21. So what inspires them? And if you can try and do a snapshot of this, it will be easier when you receive the slides just to do a comparison. What is important to the baby boomers, to the Gen X, to the millennials, and then to the Gen Z. I'll try and stand here. Right, number 1, customer orientation for the baby boomers. Which is interesting if you look at the last one, which is number 10, altruism. 9, fun and enjoyment. Very low down on the scale. The middle, creativity, is quite 4. I would say financial, number 7. You can try and remember this when we carry on with the different generations. Social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Any questions, any observations? Famous Gen X. Charlize Theron, Kim Immelbrand, Tiger Woods. Sense of individualism and diversity, 1965 to 1980. Popular brands, Amazon, Lay's, Netflix, YouTube. I'm glad Kit Kat is there, that's my favorite chocolate. I missed something now. I missed the comment. I don't know if this is about my generation, Generation X, but I am mad about Kit Kats. And I get really, really annoyed when they change the flavor. Because, and you're laughing, but it's true. I buy it and I don't read because I haven't got my glasses on, another problem. And then I get home and I see it's a completely different flavor than the one I'm used to. I like Kit Kat. Don't mess with my Kit Kat. So how do they want to be managed? They want the structure and direction. They want self-reliance, reward and benefits in the form of flexibility. And I believe this is coming in more and more. They offer leadership and they look at learning opportunities, work-life balance is really starting to take over for the Gen X. It's important to them because they realize there must be something more. I see the Gen Xers are all going like this. So, how do they want to do business? Output-focused, outcome-orientated, meaningful work and innovation. They want diversity, go, get the work done, and do the next step. So very much focus on what you need to do. Any comments?
I think the one thing is that obviously when you look at the boomers, you know that most of them in organizations, most senior leaders, but it's already much different. The next and later groups do different.
It's already
some discomfort.
very nice comment. There's already a little bit of a discrepancy there. Especially, excuse my back, if you look at the next one. So what inspires them? Yes, customer orientation still number one, but look at number 10. Stability, that's the least one. And power, number 9. Right? Learning is still quite high, creativity and fun, yippee-doo, has moved up. It's not number 9, it is already number 7. I offend any millennials. That's not what I'm saying, research. And the reason why they say snowflake generation is because millennials don't like criticism. They don't enjoy criticism. I mean, I don't enjoy criticism as a Gen X. And I'm sure baby boomers don't like criticism, but we know that it's necessary. But for millennials, they don't really like criticism. So that's why they call them the snowflake generation. Also, the most addicted generation of them all. Suffer from addictions, most than any other generation. Also more exposed to divorce in their family circle. Brands, I'm glad to see Kit Kat is still there. So, yes, some new ones, Gmail, Adidas, Nike. Oreo, I thought that was a really old one. How do they want to be managed? This is interesting. Review and recognition. I am going to spend more time talking about how does millennials want to be managed. But the review and recognition comes out every single time. And a lot of research has shown that millennials would rather take a lower pay cut. But they want not instant, they want continuous feedback and check-ins. It doesn't work for them to have one performance appraisal once or twice a year. They want continuous check-ins, they'll rather take less money. I thought that was really interesting. They want to work in a team, that is important. Who of you watched Simon Sinek's talk on millennials? Right, I'm going to show it to you. I was going to see the numbers because I've got something else if you haven't seen it. But if most of you haven't seen it, I'll rather show you Simon Sinek. Apologies to those who have seen it. And what we can do is, there's another really good TED talk. There's no time to show that to you. But if you're interested, you can ask Kim. It's Leah, and she also talks about different generations. They want to be valued and respected. They want to work with a leader and not a manager. And that manager or that leader needs to have a personal relationship with them. That's very important. They want to be seen as an individual. They want to be seen as a person. A job needs to give them some kind of value. They want to make a difference in the world. They don't want to be micromanaged, and very much an interactive work environment. They want to try lots of new things. And for those of you who manage millennials will know that they are famous for job hopping. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about how to manage them a little bit more in depth. Yes?
Just an interesting sort of contribution is like continuous feedback and please don't micromanagement.
Yes.
So the challenge is, I understand the nuances, but the challenge is that then if somebody's feeling grumpy, it's very easy to misinterpret the continuous feedback as micromanagement. And I think that's something that people struggle with, because you're wanting feedback, you want to check in with you as a manager. But as soon as I don't like what you're saying,
It's micromanaged.
You're asked to micromanager. So it's very tricky dynamic to handle and really frustrating.
It's a very fine line. The research I've read about it said that, they want, when there's a project, they want you to leave them, but then check in small chunks if they're on the right track, because that relationship is really important to them. But as you said, then it can come across as when it doesn't suit them, then it's micromanaged. But I don't think that's a generational thing. I think that's a communication and personality issue.
It's particularly difficult as well if the person, if the millennial is in a position where they're not super experienced.
About that as well, that millennials, when they join the workforce, between 5 and 7 months, they expect to move up. Between 5 to 7 months. And we as a Gen X, I just go, but you haven't earned your stripes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that talks to the feeling of entitlement that a lot of millennials naturally feel. And it is more personality linked.
We need to be careful because we really are saying baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z. But as you know, I'm really stereotyping, and I should have actually said that right in the beginning. Yes, I'm stereotyping just to show the differences and just to make it clear. But people are people. It's all about communication. I think of some of the Gen Zs have got more EQ than some baby boomers that I know. So we need to just keep that in mind. People are people. I was going to tell you about really interesting research, but I completely forgot, so I'll come back to that point. So let's go and look at how do they want to do business. They want work flexibility, and that comes up every single time. Why do they need to sit in the traffic for 2 hours to work from 8 to 5? I mean, I'm Gen X, and I'm also going, why? So the work flexibility is very important to them because they can connect anywhere. They can lie on the beach, they can connect. So for them, it's not that structure of you need to be at work at 8 o'clock and you finish at 5. It doesn't make sense. And then you can see how immediately conflict is going to come in with the baby boomers, where the structure was everything. You start at 7 and you leave at 6. So what's wrong with you if you don't? You're not paying respect, you're not paying. What I have to say, that's important to them. They want their voice to be heard. And Simon Sinek is actually going to say it much better than I do. But it really is because of the way we parented them as Gen X and as baby boomers. We told them how special they are. They come 11th in a race, they get a badge because you are so special. They do anything, you are so special, you can do anything. And then we wonder when they start work, all of a sudden, that whole self-esteem was built on this. And then at work, it all of a sudden is different. So the boss, the manager, to assist and to mentor, because they've been used to that. They've been used to this in the education system, and now all of a sudden they come to work and it doesn't happen. They get left alone. Long-term relationship with employers have own terms. They want to have a relationship with their manager or their leader. They connect. That's what they do. Most of them, actually research has shown, 82% of them want actually to own their own business. They want to work for themselves. And they like multitasking. So they can talk to you and they can WhatsApp or whatever they do at the same time. Interesting about this, I was reading articles about millennials and the way they like to connect with people. So when we look at the communication model, we say, there's a message, you want to encode it, and you choose your channel. Most millennials immediately would choose emails instead of phones. They would much rather send someone an email, even if they sit next to them, than going to them or to phone them. It's almost that they suffer from phone phobia. Not the typing, but the speaking. I mean, my son will sit next to his friend and they'll be texting each other. Doesn't make sense to me. but it works for them. But then again, if I look at it and I think of myself, Gen X, when I want to send my sister a message, I'd much rather WhatsApp her than phone her. She's baby boomers. It irritates the living daylight out of her. Because why can't I just pick up the phone? But it's going to take her 20 minutes. If I WhatsApp, it's going to be less than 1 minute. So, but they seem to have a bit of a phone phobia. They much prefer to email. So then, the question is, when you look at who are their customers, who they're dealing with in the business world. So you have the question of how do you manage your millennials, but then who are the millennials clients? So now if the millennials clients are Gen X or baby boomers, and they much rather prefer to email them, but the baby boomers or Gen X want a phone call because that is personal connection to them, you have a problem. You have a huge problem. And especially when they write the email the way they text. I feel very bad for the millennials. However, I'm stereotyping, so please forgive me for that. I won't tell you where my car is, so you can't. So that can be a real issue. Who are the clients? Who do we manage? So it comes back to communication. How do we communicate with them and tell them what is needed? Right. So this one, very interesting. What is the most important one to them? Achievement. If you think of baby boomers, Gen X, it was all about customer orientation. Very much focused on the external, where here it's very much focused on the internal, my achievement. It's about me. So then if you look at the last one, which is interesting, it was the same as baby boomers. Where's fun? Oh, fun is number 3. Gen X was number 7 and baby boomers was number 9. So fun has really moved us. Learning is sort of there, creativity, power, not important at all. Number 9. Yes?
Question. I've just recently been in a couple of conversations where millennials have been very obsessive about the job title that is allocated to them. But you associate that with achievement or with power because it's two like opposite ends of the spectrum. And I'm quite surprised by the resistance to certain job titles, and there was a very clear idea of what it was that folk wanted. And I was surprised by it because I always associated millennials as being not particularly power orientated. And I have been to power, and power is quite low.
Do you mind if I just going to move quickly? I want to show you something. He was talking about how do you motivate people and teams. When we're not talking about money, what works for individuals or teams? How do you motivate them? So SCARF is obviously SCARF, right? So for baby boomers, status, very important. So this is where you park your job title. Research has shown that for millennials, the status is not that important. So this is a bit of an exception to the rule. But depending on how we frame it. So if we frame it as the person is seeing it as an achievement, or they see it as power, that would be a difference. Yeah. Because according to the research, when you look at the SCARF model, certainty and relatedness would be much more important to the millennial than to the baby boomer. Now, I find that this is really very much an individual way of how do you motivate yourself. I did an interesting exercise with myself. So for me, Gen X, I don't know if that's Gen X or just me, fairness is always number 1. Whatever I do, fairness must be number 1. So that was the way that I managed my staff. So when I did a 360 with them, I thought I must be the best manager in the world because I'm so fair. It came up that I really suck at what I do. Because for them, it was all about relatedness. Millennials. It worked for them. They wanted me to have coffee. They wanted me to check in with them. They wanted to have chats about where they're going. That was the most important thing. And also certainty. They wanted to understand the why of what we're doing, I was just very much focused on the what and the when. but not really on the why, because there was just never time. But I was being so fair. So this was a big eye-opener for me. Right, social media for millennials. Still Facebook, I'm glad to see Facebook still. They're probably just stalking their parents. Right, let's go to the Gen Z. So I really have to go and Google some of these names. I know about Malala, but the Kardashians. Oh,
Kardashian.
My daughter is a millennial. She's turning 25. And she is absolutely mad about the Kardashians. And I, for the love of me, can't see the point. But it works for her. The clothes that they wear, she wants to wear the same clothes. Everything. I'm speechless. I really don't understand it. I think what else. So they're well connected, born within technology. So the brands that they like. I don't even know what Target is.
Oh, Target, like the store in America.
Oh, thank you. Right. So how do they want to be managed? I thought this was really interesting because apparently, according to research, they're all going to want their own office. Where millennials like the whole open plan space, beanbags and free food, according to Science and Net. But for Gen Z, it's not going to work. They're all going to want their own space. They want to be connected, but they want to be connected in their own individual space. So I'm not sure how the businesses will accommodate that, but this is coming. Share and care, they can only work. Also, lots of feedback. They want their own voice. The community is very important. Face-to-face meetings and give them room to grow. My son, as I said, Joshua, is 19. He only wears second-hand clothing. He is completely anti-consumerism. Everything must be free range. He wants to see the packet. He doesn't believe me. He wants to see it. He is very much focused on we need to look after the environment. So why wear brands when you can get second-hand clothes? But he likes vintage, though. Second-hand sounds vintage is better.
And if you understand the people you work with,
And spend time getting to know them.
well, to know.
Very important what you say. I so agree with you. Because we're very quick to stereotype. I mean, I'm stereotyping with what I'm doing this morning. But it is, for me, it's just to raise that awareness that people are different. And my concern is, and I found this from my side, is I manage people the way I want to be managed. But that's not the way they want to be managed. I really thought what I'm doing with my team is I give them lots of afternoons off. I buy them little gifts. I write them little notes. But that is not enough. They want me to actually come in exactly what you said and say, that email was really well written, thank you. Well, that was a fantastic idea. Share it with the others. And that makes them flower and build their confidence. And it took me a long time to see that, because I don't need that. But they do. And again, it's depending on the individual, not just the team. So it really is about, and I think that's why I was joking about the guy who said Simon Sinek is wrong. But maybe what he's trying to say is get to know people individually. That's what it's about. So thank you for that.